I'm going to go ahead and say that cozy games wouldn't be the same without animals. I love them, you probably love them, and they're a constant in cozy gaming even when we don't slip into the paws, hooves or wings of an animal protagonist. A lot of the time, our adventures are accompanied by some sort of furry or feathered friend, and they help give some of the best cozy games that extra feeling of comfort. We spend hours tending to them, caring for them, or even taking them with us every step of the way in an epic adventure. But above all else, one creature in particular has been held on a pedestal above the rest over the last few years, and I don't really understand why. I'm talking about the humble frog. Don't get me wrong, I love frogs. I love when the little guy gets the time to shine, and I think frogs are a worthy beastie to be held in such high regards. I just want to know why. In a world inundated with more typically cutesy, fuzzy critters I don't doubt would make excellent marketable plushies, why have we taken the amphibious angle? So without further ado, I'm Cara, this is Cozy Corner, or well, Cozy Pond this week, I guess. And today, I'm trying to understand the deal with frogs. The first game I can think of where a frog takes the lead in a stereotypically cozy setting is Frog Detective. The first instalment to this now well-established series came out in 2018, and basically sold itself with the line, "You're a detective and a frog, and it's time to solve a mystery." If you haven't played it, this genuinely is the whole experience. There's no word of a lie there. Given the popularity of the first game, it's no surprise that a second was released not long after in 2019, following the same sort of routine and setting. But before a third could roll out in 2022, we were well into frog-obsessive territory. I think what I now refer to as the Frogpocalypse came crashing into cozy games in full force around 2020 to 2021. I genuinely have no understanding as to why, but suddenly it felt like frog games were popping, or hopping, up in every showcase. Suddenly there was a frog variation of almost every genre, whether it's a creature collector like Kamaeru, A Frog's Refuge, an action RPG like Frog Song, or an idle game like Crocoloco. These slippery suckers have been front and centre in cozy games for a while now, and across enough genres to entice more players into the pond. I'm by no means complaining either. I'm a total amphibian advocate. I've got 2 giant African bullfrogs, but I'll admit they don't immediately scream cozy animals to me. When I think cozy, something warm and fluffy comes to mind. You know, like a cat, a dog, perhaps even something like raccoons. We've seen them all in cozy games, yet the frog, and toad, I'm not overlooking those guys, still remains on top. On hop! Okay, that's enough. I'm done. As much as I can't wrap my head around why frogs are the chosen critter, I can't deny my love for some of these games. Teacup is one of my absolute favourite cozy games featuring a froggy protagonist, and it's probably one that I'd recommend first should anyone ever ask me the very niche question of the best cozy frog game. In this narrative adventure game, you take on the role of Teacup, an incredibly shy frog who is desperately trying to host the perfect tea party for her friends. But on the day of the party, she goes to check her stocks, and alas, she is completely out of tea supplies. So instead of cancelling, which is probably what I would do, I won't lie, Teacup decides that it's time to face her fears and head out into the real world. While you make your way around Little Pond, you meet an array of not frogs, you'll be pleased to hear, who offer you ingredients for tea in return for favours. You'll complete races with the animals, solve puzzles, and generally lend a helping hand to get what you need. It's short and sweet, and the perfect evening companion for anyone needing a video game equivalent of a warming mug of chamomile tea. Time on Frog Island is another game in that typical cozy subcategory, offering a chill atmosphere based on an island inhabited by, you'll never guess what, frogs. You're the only human on this island, and you need to gather enough materials to mend your boat. Luckily, the froggy inhabitants are willing to help, but you need to complete special missions for them before they help you. I mean, a slice of island life and a bunch of frogs to befriend, I would be in absolutely no rush to leave. Frog Gun also gets a special mention. While you don't play as a frog, you do utilise one in a pretty unique way. As the name suggests, you have a literal frog gun, and while going around using its tongue as a grappling hook to narrowly miss gaps and navigate pretty perilous landscapes, you uncover a pretty emotional story as to why you're exploring on your own. But let's be real, you're never really alone when you have a frog gun. This game made me realise just how poor my depth perception is with 3D platformers, but it's got a cracking soundtrack which somewhat makes up for the pure anger I felt each time I had to retrace my steps and repeat levels and boss battles because of one wrong move. Seriously, the amount of time I needed to step away and take a breather during any session playing Frog Gun should be studied. So now that I think about it, Maybe my willingness to throw myself into any frog-based adventure is probably the reason they keep getting made. It's just impossible to not want to see what the next journey holds when they really could go any which way. But it does make me wonder what exactly the next animal fad will be, especially since we've latched onto these mucus-covered pond dwellers for so long. We've had moments where bunnies, bears and birds were the in thing, so what could possibly come next? Personally, I'd like to see more opossum representation. I've seen very few games featuring my most favourite animal, the lovable opossum, so I think it's time more developers started putting them in the spotlight. As we've seen with frog games, the opportunities are literally endless. Though I imagine any sort of opossum game would involve a lot of playing dead and scampering away from any sign of danger. I'm not really any closer to solving the mystery as to why and how frogs became so popular, but if you've got any ideas, please let me know. I would love to understand why it's the go-to animal at the moment for all things cozy, so be sure to drop a comment below if you've got any mad theories behind the frog apocalypse. Or if you have any animal you'd love to see more in gaming, be sure to let me know so I can see whether or not it will knock down my need for more opossum games. If you'd like to join me next time in Cozy Corner, when I'm hopefully not sprawling out a murder map of every single game ever mentioning an amphibian trying to solve the mystery behind why, then be sure to subscribe to PC Gamer too. That's all from me.